Hi, welcome to the Wellness 101. My name's Nancy Miller-Ely, and I'm here with my friend Beth Black today. We're going to share some great wellness information with you. Beth, I'd like to invite you to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thank you. Absolutely. So, hello, everyone. I just want to say that as an occupational therapist, I was really taught about learning to take care of people on the ill side. But I had the opportunity that I worked with children at my very start of my career, which really taught me about preventing things and looking at illness completely more as a preventative way to move through life. However, when I entered my own situations that I dealt with allergies, I found myself looking for other ways to deal with the allergies than what I was being told. And everything that I was being told never led back to this one key word that we're going to talk about tonight, and that's inflammation. I learned so much in my journey, and I absolutely found this passion of being able to bring communities together in health instead of in illness. And so that's really why we're here tonight, is to be able to just impart some information to you this evening. So Nancy, if you would go ahead and introduce yourself and get us started, that'd be great.
All right. So I worked at the U.S. Department of Agriculture for more than 25 years. So I have a background. I'm a scientist, and I'm a chemist specifically. That's what my PhD is in. And so I did a lot of research related to nutrition, specifically focusing on absorption and bioavailability. And so one of the things I'm really passionate about is teaching people about nutrition in what I hope is an easy to understand way, so that you can take the information and use it so that you can lay a great foundation for your health, because there's no question that nutrition is the foundation for health. Now, my current focus is community-based nutrition education. I love working with individuals one-on-one or with medical practices, helping them to implement wellness. And Beth and I both also are weight loss coaches, and that's how we know each other. And we're very excited about helping people with that as well. So before we start, I always want to give you the disclaimer that says that the statements in the presentation haven't been evaluated by the FDA, and that products and ingredients that are discussed are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent disease. That's a standard disclaimer. And so we're just sharing that with you.
So as Nancy said, nutrition as a foundation for health, because truly everything starts with eating well, and what I always say, supplementing intelligently. So really what we hope to impart to you tonight is just some clarification and some tips that you can take away to upgrade your health, just like we did ours.
So here's a slide that shows the nutritional status of Americans. And on the left, they're showing what the median daily vegetable intake is for the different states in the United States. I happen to live in Maryland, so we're at about 1.6 servings of vegetables per day. Now, I'm sure everyone who's viewing this video knows that it's in our best interest to consume more than that. 6, 8, 10 servings of vegetables certainly is not too much. But you can see that from a nutritional perspective, people are missing out on all those important nutrients that are found in vegetables. On the right, we have a graph showing the rate of obesity. And sometimes people will say, well, I think obesity's kind of leveled out. It's not really climbing. This is the obesity rate for men with the red line here. And you can see that it's continuing to increase. And sadly, the obesity line for women is just parallel to it. And it's also on the rise. So the problem from my perspective is that there's widespread availability of convenience foods. And those foods are calorie rich, but nutrient poor. That is to say, there's a lot of empty calories, things that are not containing the important vitamins and minerals that we need. So the reason that good nutrition is key is that, you have little chemical processes going on in your body all the time. That's what makes up your metabolism. And we need vitamins and minerals as cofactors for all those little reactions. Unhealthy eating and physical inactivity leads to more than 500,000 deaths per year. We all know that wellness is more than just the absence of disease or illness. So unfortunately, as Beth mentioned, inflammation is one of the key factors that is affecting us with so many different challenges that are chronic. So heart disease, diabetes, food allergies, cancer, digestive disease, osteoporosis, and obesity are all things that we can affect with nutrition. So people say eat healthy, but what does that really mean? Beth, do you think people know what we mean when we say that?
No, I think everyone, honestly, I can ask everyone that question, do you eat healthy? And most people will say, yes, they do. They just don't really realize, because we are so mismarketed too.
Well, and I think if we were to ask people, the folks that are watching this video, hey, let's do a quick quiz. Which is healthier, chicken and broccoli or a cupcake. I'm pretty sure they'll all choose the chicken and broccoli. The problem, Beth, is that we eat the cupcake too, right?
So that's right. We absolutely do.
So we have to make sure that people are well aware that they're going to lay a good foundation by making sure they get all the essential nutrients. And the word essential means that you absolutely have to have it. So essential vitamins and minerals are the things that you must, take in through your diet, either through food choices or through supplementation, because your body can't make them. And these nutrients are absolutely essential for life. So one of the things that I think is interesting is to look at the data from the NHANES study. That study's done every 5 years or so. And you can see that the scientists concluded that there were a bunch of shortfall nutrients. That is to say, there are a bunch of nutrients that people simply are not getting enough of. Think about vitamin D, and I'm going to show you some specifics in just a second. So many people are talking about, oh, my vitamin D levels are low. My doctor tested them. Why are they so low? Why is it different today? Well, we use sunscreen. We are not eating necessarily fortified foods that may have vitamin D added to them. So people are making different choices. Some of these things are such a problem when we look at, the total number of people that are not getting enough of these important nutrients, that it becomes a public health concern. So, we know that, for example, the United States is the #1 country for osteoporosis and osteopenia. But yet, we're a wealthy country, but yet people are not getting what they need. And people don't always understand what the best sources, for example, of calcium are. I'm just going to invite you to learn a little bit more about that, because it may not always be milk. So this is a summary of the results from the dietary guidelines showing what percentage of people hit a target called the EAR. And EAR stands for Estimated Adequate Requirement. The thing about this target intake is that if you hit it, you have a 50-50 chance that it's enough for you. So Beth, would that be good enough for you, or would you want to be 100% sure that you were going to have an adequate intake to have your best health?
I would want my best health. I want 100% surety.
Yeah. So even having said that, look at the number of people that aren't getting enough vitamin D. More than 90% are not getting enough vitamin D. And look at the number of individuals who are not getting enough magnesium, more than 50%. So, this is a real problem. You need calcium for a muscle to contract and magnesium for it to relax. So, if you're a weekend warrior, or perhaps you have fibromyalgia or some other health challenge, which leads to myofascial pain or muscle knots, oftentimes people will sit in an Epsom salts bath, and that's magnesium. But you can also have a huge benefit from having adequate magnesium intake internally. And so that's one of the things that, that people benefit from. We also have something called the adequate intake, or AI, that's listed here. And these are nutrients that are important, but, the scientists can't always agree on a good target intake. So instead, they just come up with a suggested intake. There's not even a guarantee if you hit this intake, Beth, that you have a 50-50 chance that it's enough. Look at this, though. Vitamin K, only about 30% of people get enough. That has to do with clotting with your blood. Dietary fiber, only about 5% of people get enough. This is just crazy because, cancer is a very tough thing to deal with, but colon cancer is something that can definitely be affected by your healthy lifestyle choices and your nutritional choices. So the USDA suggested intake for fiber each day is 25 to 35 grams, but most people get less than about 10 to 12 grams. So this is something that people can really be proactive about. And you can do that with a fiber supplement or by eating more high fiber fruits and vegetables. Now, people don't always talk about the fact that prescription medications deplete nutrients. When you get that prescription medication, they always give you that circular with the 1-point font on it, right? But if you actually read that, you'll see that, for example, if you're taking certain medications, it's going to deplete nutrients. For example, birth control pills are known to deplete vitamin B12. If you're taking an antacid, that's going to deplete iron. If you're taking a statin drug, that's going to deplete CoQ10. And coenzyme Q10 is a spark plug for every single cell in your body. If someone's taking an antibiotic, it makes sense to supplement with a probiotic. You don't take them at the same time. You have to separate them by a couple of hours. But, I'm always surprised that people go on antibiotics and then don't realize that they would want to kind of re-inoculate their gut. They would want to rebalance their gastrointestinal tract. And, as I mentioned that, it just comes to mind that it's so important for people to have good digestive health. And we could do a whole nother, presentation on that, and maybe Beth and I will. But the bottom line is that if you don't have good absorption and assimilation, when your gut is out of balance, then you're not going to get the maximum absorption from your food or from nutritional supplements. Moving forward, though, look at the Coke and the Pepsi at the top there. What do those things do? Why are they going to deplete nutrients? Guess what? Both cola drinks contain phosphoric acid. And phosphoric acid will actually leach the calcium out of your teeth and bones to form calcium phosphate. And that's one of the things that can be a contributor to dental challenges and even osteoporosis. Now, we've got some alcohol there in the second picture, and I don't want to be the bearer of bad news. Beth, shall we tell them?
I think we should.
Okay. Well, the bottom line is that, if overconsumption of alcohol certainly will lead to nutrient depletion. Also, consumption of alcohol oftentimes will cause cravings and things that don't make you necessarily select the best foods. Now, I know somebody's going to say to me, but I've read that red wine is good, and certainly red wine with the phytonutrients is a better choice. But a big thing that alcohol consumption does is to deplete B vitamins. And B vitamins are so important for energy. They're important for metabolism. They're important for mood. So you really, you want to make sure that you have that. And then the last thing here is sugar. Oh my gosh, we could do a whole thing on sugar. But let me just tell you guys that the average American consumes about 140 pounds of sugar a year. So many people are eating their weight in sugar. And, there's a lot of negatives with that, but definitely it's going to be challenging for your nutritional status. So we have options for getting healthy nutrients. We're going to either eat well or we're going to supplement. And so I like to tell people, depending on what you're willing to do, if you have a very high commitment to eating super healthy, that means you're eating, free range beef, you're eating only organic, no genetically modified, etc., then maybe you don't have to supplement as much. Flip side of that is if you want the latitude to go out and eat at a restaurant and it's not farm to table, or you don't always buy everything all organic, then your commitment to supplementation should perhaps be a little bit higher. In the end, though, you're going to see that a lot of nutritional experts feel that we really do need to have, at the very least, a multivitamin. Sometimes, Beth, people tell me that they don't believe in supplementation. And I just want to highlight for people that, the government does a determination, and they have added certain things to our food supply, knowing that people don't get them, these things on their own if they're just selecting it. So back in the 20s, people were showing up with goiters, which were as a result of thyroid disease. Those goiters could be, that could all be prevented by simply adding iodine to salt. Fast forward to today, and what are people doing? They're buying Himalayan pink sea salt and other fancy salts, many of which do not have naturally occurring levels of iodine in them. So people think they're healthier because it's all natural, but without being iodized, we're seeing actually more problems with people having iodine deficiencies. Milk, people say, oh, milk's a great source of vitamin D. Well, it's there because it's added and fortified. But some people are realizing now that maybe milk is not the best choices for us as adults. It's kind of inflammatory, like Beth was mentioning. It can cause phlegm and mucus and other challenges. So, people are stepping away from that, maybe having almond milk or rice milk or something else. But now they're not necessarily getting enough vitamin D. And then flour was enriched back in the 40s with B vitamins. So, I myself am celiac, so I'm not having any white flour. But many people are choosing to eat healthier and eating more whole grains. But those grains are not enriched with the B vitamins. So the bottom line is that we do all actually benefit from the enrichment and fortification, but people are kind of being supplemented, but they're not necessarily going to be able to get the full benefit because they don't understand if they choose not to eat a fortified food that they might be missing out. So nutritional experts all agree that it's important to use supplements. So we've got the American Dietetic Association, and they wrote a paper for their clinicians, and that would be registered dietitians and nutritionists, guiding them as they're sitting down with the patient for an intake to ask about supplement use and highlighting the fact that that may be appropriate to ensure adequate intake of essential nutrients. The dietary guidelines that come from USDA and Health and Human Services talk about the importance of a multivitamin as an insurance policy or as a stopgap measure. And then the food pyramids from really prestigious organizations like Harvard and Tufts, which are well known for their nutrition research, they also include supplements. And I just want to highlight on the right there at the bottom, we have the Harvard food pyramid. And, I love it because they actually start talking about daily exercise as a foundation for your health, work their way up, talking about fruits and veggies and stuff. But over on the left, you're going to see they actually have a supplement shown here. And for those of you that do enjoy the occasional glass of red wine, they are saying that that could have some health benefits as well. So it's not all bad news tonight. So why would we want to consider supplementation? I would say because we're a nation of wealth, but not health. People want everything fast. People just don't have good control. They don't over their nutritional choices. People are getting excess calories. Inactivity is a huge issue. People have too little sleep. They have a lot of stress. And the other thing is, I mentioned earlier, is that poor gastrointestinal health will definitely affect our health status. And, the bottom line is that the road to health is paved with good intestines. And so, getting your GI health in order is a really good thing to do. I've already mentioned that there's some chronic diseases such as heart disease and cancer and arthritis. And then also we know that nutrient depletion can also be the result of a medical intervention. I want to be completely clear. Beth and I are not suggesting that people do not need to take prescription medication. That's certainly, up to you and your doctor. But you do need to be aware that in some instances, there may be an imbalance caused as a result of that. So you want to be a well-educated consumer.
So I just want to interject here for a second, Nancy, because not all supplements are created equal. And it's really important that we find a high quality product line, because as Nancy talked about, it can be very confusing out there. We are overfed and undernourished. We have food available to us, but so often we don't even know what truly the nutritional value of that food is. When we go out to eat, we don't know what something is being cooked in at a restaurant. We have no idea, even at a farm-to-table restaurant, I hate to say it in today's world, that only a certain percentage of those foods that are making it to the table really have to be farmed locally. The rest could be sourced from somewhere else, and we don't know where it's coming from. And really, in the end, what it's about is staying vertical each day. And so we have to look at, where is that science behind our supplementation? Because it's critical.
Yeah, and Beth, one of the questions people ask all the time is, are supplements approved by the Food and Drug Administration? I want to be, just provide a little bit of background about that because people may not understand. So the company focuses on using something called GRAS-approved ingredients, and GRAS stands for generally regarded as safe. The legislation that oversees supplementation is called DSHEA, and you can check the FDA site to be able to learn more about that. So FDA doesn't approve individual supplement formulations, but it does regulate the ingredients and the final products. So if, for example, there were a supplement that was causing problems for people and an adverse event report was sent in, then the FDA would be more than happy to come pull all of those off the shelf, just as they would if there was a problem with a prescription medication or with a food. One of the things that's so important when you look at a supplement, though, is to know that there's the appropriate quantities of the essential vitamins and minerals or nutrients in each dose. Some companies will talk about proprietary blends, and they won't even tell you how much of the key active ingredients are in there. So it's not just that a product contains the key ingredients, it's that there's an amount present that's going to actually make a difference for you for your health. Another thing to consider is the potential of bioavailability, because each of us, because of our gastrointestinal health, might have different absorption of the same nutrient or the same formulation. But what we absorb is really what matters. So let me show you a little bit about the isotonics advantage, which I think is very cool. So I mentioned that absorption matters and gastrointestinal health is key. Look at these pills or tablets, which are still intact in somebody's gastrointestinal tract. These are just x-rays showing that this person has not yet broken this down. Now, if you're taking a pill or a tablet, your best chance of breaking it down, honestly, is when it's in your stomach and the hydrochloric acid is released to go through the digestive process. So you can see that if you've got a tablet or a present, it's got binders, it's got fillers, it's got coatings, it's got something called excipients, it's got, they're pressure treated so that they're highly compressed. That doesn't make it easy for your body to break it down. So we feel that we have access to something that's particularly unique, and that is the isotonics delivery system. So what we have is a powder that you mix with water and drink. You're going to get 90-95% absorption in as little as 10 minutes. Certainly it will all be absorbed, in 30 or 40 minutes. If you take a pill or a tablet, it's going to go into your stomach and it will sit there until or unless your stomach starts to provide the hydrochloric acid necessary to break it down. So that can take 40 minutes to even 2 or 3 hours to be able to break down. So we feel like the isotonics is a huge advantage. I kind of think of it as kind of like an oral IV. And Beth, sometimes people will ask us, well, the isotonics, don't they have some sugar in them? Yes, they do. A typical isotonic will have a serving of 2 grams of sugar. But let's talk about what that really means. 2 grams of sugar is a half of a teaspoon. And it cracks me up, Beth, because the same people that are worried about that half a teaspoon of sugar are the same people that are pounding down a Starbucks grande latte. But it's just funny how when people become educated, then they go, oh, that's right, it's not really that much. But a half a teaspoon, and the only way we can make it isotonic is either with sugar or with salt. And so most people wouldn't touch it if it were made with salt. So just like in a hospital, you either have a dextrose IV or you have a saline. It's the exact same thing for this. So these products are made with a small amount of sugar, and they're made to have the same chemical makeup as your bodily fluids, so that when they go into your stomach, your body sees it as already being digested. It thinks it's chyme, which is what they call the breakdown of food products after they're processed with acid. So your body basically sees this liquid coming in and says, awesome, Nance, you've already digested it. I'm going to open the pyloric valve and send it to the small intestine for absorption. Is that not cool?
That's very cool.
Yeah, it really is. So, there's some specifics here about what an isotonic formulation is in terms of the chemistry, but probably what people are more interested in knowing, Beth, is the fact that it does provide rapid and more complete absorption. It's an effervescent, fruity flavored formulation that just tastes great. And the last bullet here is one of the things I am really passionate about, and that's the fact that what's not in the isotonic is just as important as what is. These isotonic formulations have no wheat, soy, yeast, gluten, artificial flavors, starch, salt, preservatives, or milk. And that's really huge in this day and age.
So Nancy, I just want to add, this is awesome information, and I get very excited about the science, but as we know, a lot of people don't want to know all the science. And honestly, what I wanted to share with you is that I love that picture of the isotonics versus tablet, because when I was introduced to isotonics 23 years ago, Nancy, I was on bowls of vitamins. I was taking bowls because they were helping me, and these were whole food supplements. But what I found is when I switched to the isotonics, because the delivery just made sense to me, I thought, man, if I can drink this stuff and I can actually get this bioavailability to actually go down into the area where it was going to be absorbed and actually get this high absorption rate, what could change? And I just want to share a couple little stories, because we all have to decide what supplements are right for each of us. And it can be a very confusing world out there. But I could tell you, if I had not changed over, I don't think that I'd be where I am in my later 50s at this point, where I actually have not been having to take any prescription medications whatsoever and running a very healthy life. But Nancy, you talked about it at the beginning, and I love that. Supplementation is something that if you're eating healthy, you might not need as much as, but I choose to get a lot of my stuff in supplements because of the fact that the isotonics are so clean and so well delivered. Because quite honestly, even though I do eat the grass-fed beef, and even though I do eat organically, and I avoid GMO, and I avoid gluten, truly our value of our nutrition in our fruits and vegetables is not what it used to be 20 years ago or even 50 years ago. It has depleted itself so much over time that if we're not supplementing, we're not getting enough. It would take 2 full cups of blueberries, organic, clean blueberries every day to get what you can get in a simple little supplement sometimes. So supplementation to me is just key.
So Beth, when people want to figure out what they're going to, how to supplement, we have some tools available. Why don't you talk about that?
Sure. Because like I said, it can be confusing. So we want to make it as simple as possible. So if you get with the person who is introducing you to this information, the Nutri-Physical and also the weight loss profile quiz are simple 2 little tools that are online that you can get access to just simply answer questions that are related to your health, your energy, your pain, your sleep habits, your exercise habits, etc., so that we can come back and help guide you in making decisions of what would be the right lifestyle program for you to upgrade your health. And so we're going to look at what is your commitment level? What is your budget? What is, what are you already taking? What are you already doing? It looks at the entire lifestyle approach. And then I love that we also offer GeneSnip. We've been offering this for many years, and it is available only through qualified Nutrametrics health professionals. And that could be another whole video, honestly. But the thing is, it's a laser beam approach to really look exactly at your genes and know exactly where you stand and where your variations and deficiencies are in your body so that we can really address those directly.
Yeah, I think it's so important that people understand that your genes are not your destiny, and we can have the opportunity to turn up the good things and turn down the bad things, but knowledge is power. So that's one of the great advantages of that.
Love it.
So
Love it.
We've got powerful products, and we've got great synergistic formulation. So I'd like to just, finish this out with talking about 5 key products so that you can kind of have an idea of what things might be a great foundation for your health. The first one is a good multivitamin, and I've already talked about the advantage of the isotonics delivery system. So with a multivitamin, it doesn't matter whether you're 150 pounds or 450 pounds. We all need the same amount. And I know that that can be confusing to people, but the real role of the vitamins and minerals that are in there are really to serve as cofactors for the little chemical experiments going on in your body. So in general, there's really no benefit for somebody to no advantage for them to take more than a single dose. The thing about a multi is that, people don't necessarily take a multi and just feel the difference right away. Sometimes they do, but the point is that you've got to be consistent with your usage. This is a foundational product. I love the fact that our multivitamin is available both with and without iron. And I want to be really clear that, our iron, the formulation that we have, is very easy on the stomach. It doesn't cause constipation. It doesn't taste bad or metallic. And that's really excellent because a lot of times if people have had to take like cod liver oil or prescription iron tablets, their compliance is not very good. So one of the things that I wanted to just highlight is that for each of the products I'm going to talk about, there's an infographic. So again, the person that invited you to view this, you can check with them and they'd be happy to provide a copy for your review. We also have an Isotonics Calcium Plus. So calcium is important for a lot of things. It's not just, strong teeth and healthy bones. It's also very beneficial for stabilizing blood sugar. It's great for heart health. It's going to help you to be able to achieve and maintain a healthy weight. We need calcium even just to have good nerve conduction and muscle performance. So a lot of people don't know that calcium also is excellent to help ease the discomfort of PMS. So women, you want to pay attention to this. Maybe men do too for that reason. But we want to promote also normal hormone secretion. So the typical recommended intake for calcium is 1,000 to 1,200 milligrams per day, depending on who you talk to. A single capful of this will provide 375 milligrams. So on the bottle, it's going to tell you to take 2 a day, which will be 750 milligrams. And then we're quite confident that you're going to get the balance from your diet. If you're concerned about that, though, it's perfectly fine to go ahead and take 3 servings of this a day, which will be 1,025 milligrams. Now, one of the things that's cool on this infographic shown on the right is it's talking about like building bone. And you know what? It's not just calcium that you need. You also need magnesium. You also need vitamin D3 with K2. You also need boron. And so we've got, everything that you need in these formulations to really, provide what people need to have good bone health. I love our Isotonics Activated B complex. And so a lot of people know that B vitamins are, good for energy. Beth, this is kind of bad, but if people say to me, Nance, do you think that isotonic delivery system's really good? I'll be like, yes. And so if somebody's questioning that, maybe I'll give them a sample of the activated B complex and tell them to take it at 10 at night and not to call me when they...
Love it.
You're laughing because you know that I don't want them to call me when they're vacuuming at 1:30 in the morning, right?
That's right.
But the B vitamins are just that powerful. So you can see on the infographic, they help with everything from skin health to eye health to your weight. They're cardioprotective, so they help your heart. They're going to definitely be helpful with stress and anxiety and mood. So, B vitamins help to increase and ensure that people have healthy levels of serotonin, kind of the feel-good brain chemical. But what's really special about our B complex is that, we have to do a little chemistry experiment when we ingest a B vitamin, Beth, and not everybody can do it. We have to do something called methylation, which is adding a carbon and 3 hydrogens. And there's an enzyme that's required to do that. And I, as an example, do not have that enzyme. I have poor performance of my enzyme, so I do not methylate well. The huge advantage for me is that I don't need to do the chemistry because our product here contains the methylated form of key products, key B vitamins for us, including the methylated form of folic acid, which is called quattrofolic. So it's very, very exciting. Some people have that MTHFR variant. We can actually, it's part of the testing with the gene SNP. So it's wonderful when people know that, but everybody benefits from B vitamins. And I've had so many people who have been able to help with mood and anxiety and stress and attention and focus, just basic, better improved cognitive performance with it. The next product that I'm going to talk about is just kind of amazing, and I'll tell you a quick story about it, because I was introduced to this product by my friend Linda, who's an herbalist. She's also an acupuncturist, and she's also a veterinarian. So yes, I was getting some medical advice from a dog doctor, but Linda said to me, Nancy, we've got this product called OPC3. And I said, oh, you mean oligomeric parenthocyanidins? She said, how do you know that? So when I was the program leader for nutrition at USDA, we published a database of the OPC content of different foods. And we did that because those plant compounds are known to be anti-carcinogenic, anti-atherogenic, so they avoid plaque buildup, and anti-inflammatory. So there's 5 key ingredients in the OPC3. And this is kind of a laundry list of, the health benefits and the things that it does. So the OPC3 does, is helpful with everything from combating free radicals and oxidative stress to reducing inflammation, to helping to maintain healthy cholesterol levels. It improves circulation. And so, guys, this is really important because it will also be very helpful when trying to achieve and maintain a healthy erection. The OPC3 is great for joint flexibility. It promotes cardiovascular health because, again, heart disease is a pro-inflammatory condition, and reducing inflammation is one of the key things that you can do. It helps reduce mild menstrual cramping and abdominal pain, and it helps support visual health and visual acuity. Stepping back up to the anti-inflammatory capability, when I started with this, Beth, I went to my physician and I said, hey, doc, can you please check my C-reactive protein and my SED rate, which are markers for inflammation? And I said, because somebody told me that this is really amazing and it'll be good, but I don't want to rely on the cardiac criteria. I want to know for sure. So he did those tests for me. And after 3 weeks, my inflammation markers dropped 50%. So the company subsequently done a huge study with like 60 people, and they compared a pill and a tablet and the isotonic formulation, same ingredients, same everything. And not only was it more rapidly absorbed and more completely absorbed in the isotonic form, but the reduction in inflammation for that larger study was 52%, which is awesome.
That's awesome. I find this really exciting in the science that's behind this product, Nancy. But I want to say that there's so many of us, and I run into people all the time, that they don't want to necessarily understand all the science. They just want to know that the product works. And here's the thing. The science is all there, and that's what I got excited about, is that these had science behind them. And the formulations, keep in mind that every product that Nancy's talking about right now are essential nutrients, meaning your body does not make them. So like she said at the beginning, we must take them, and it's got to come either through food and a healthy diet and or supplementation. So, we were no different. We got tremendous results by adding these products, these essential nutrients, to our regular daily regimen.
Yeah, if there's, have a slide up here showing some additional benefits, but, people sometimes when I talk about it, Beth, I feel kind of like, not embarrassed, but like just kind of amazed, like that these particular plant compounds have such wide range of health benefits. Everything from improving sperm quality because it makes them faster swimmers and they last longer, to supporting healthy blood glucose levels. It can help to stabilize blood sugar for 4 to 5 hours. So, there's just a lot, and I encourage you, if you're viewing this video, to take the time to learn a little bit more about it. So we have an exclusive license for Pycnogenol for this. And we have 4 key products in our daily essentials. So we have the multivitamin that I talked about, the calcium, the B complex, and the OPC. You can get that in 90 serving bottles, and that works out to $2 per day for your serving. Or you can get the convenience packets with the products, all 1 serving of each in them, and that's $77 retail and $2.57 per serving. And we spoke earlier about the cost of a Starbucks grande latte of $6 or whatever. So I think an investment of $2 to $2.50 for your health is quite reasonable. If you'd like to know more about those daily essentials, you can ask for an info sheet on those as well. But I wouldn't be doing you guys a good service if I didn't talk to you about omega-3s as well. So I think a lot of people know that omegas are naturally anti-inflammatory, but look at all the benefits at the top here in green. They help to normalize cholesterol levels. They help with high blood pressure. They help with normal blood flow. They help with normal triglyceride levels. They help to also have healthy levels of C-reactive protein. They provide eye health by providing lubrication and tear production and increasing blood flow to the eye, which can actually help with your vision in low light circumstances. Omegas help with heart health and a healthy complexion, as well as joint health. But what I'm most excited about, honestly, you guys, is the improvement in mood. Not long ago, the Walter Reed Medical Center did a study with post-traumatic stress disorder with our military people who were really suffering traumatically, and their mental health improved dramatically, and they got great relief with the use of the omegas. 4 of our capsules provide 3,000 milligrams of EPA and DHA. And one of the key things to know is that it's a very high purity product. Many companies will use huge fish to make omega-3 supplements. And that's not good, you guys, because small fish get eaten by medium fish, get eaten by big fish. And anything that's in them in the form of a toxin, whether it's a heavy metal, a pesticide, herbicide, whatever's there that we don't want, that gets accumulated when you use big fish. So we choose, our company chooses to use very small fish. So they're using sardines and anchovies. And then just to be safe, they also do what's called molecular distillation to ensure that all impurities are removed. So this is just a summary with, infographics for each of these 5 key products. And, I could say in complete confidence, you guys, that the majority of people will do extremely well with this. I would say 99% of people will be very, very happy if they start with these 5 products to kind of lay a great nutritional foundation. We've shown you that Americans don't get everything they need, that they have to worry about shortfall nutrients. We know that everybody needs a multivitamin, and it's really a very affordable insurance policy. We talked about the value of scientifically based, clinically proven ingredients and the value of the isotonics delivery. So, Beth, why don't you go ahead and close this out with some closing comments regarding what we've talked about.
I sure will. Thanks, Nancy. Again, I just want to thank Nancy for all of the science information that was really laid out for us so simply and basic, because without people to do that for us with her kind of background, it is a very, confusing area or arena to be able to navigate those waters. Sometimes they can be a little murky. So thanks, Nancy, for clearing all of that up and making it so simple for us to understand. Because sometimes it's just easier to fill in the gaps than it is to be perfect every day. Honestly, we have too many Americans eating out of the box or out of the window way too frequently. And it's sometimes easier to just fill the gaps by adding something than it is to take things away. We know we shouldn't have this, or we know we shouldn't have that. But sometimes, we're busy and it's just hard to do that. If you're somebody that's looking to really eat well and exercise and supplement intelligently, then all you need to do is ask about that for one of our healthy educational support programs that goes along with all of this. But I just want to ask you, if you're looking at this chart, that, how do you feel about your health today? Because really, if there was one thing about your health you could change, and I think all of us would agree there's always something we can improve, what would that thing be? And if 0 was the absence of symptoms or absence of challenges, where do you place yourself today on that spectrum? And on that scale that you're looking at, where would you like your health to be? Hopefully it's moving further to the right. I don't think anyone's looking to move to the left of that chart. So the question is it time to upgrade your health program? Nancy, most people I talk to are not declining better health. They're not declining a little less pain or more energy or more clarity in their thinking or their mood. I always used to tell my kids when we took our omegas every day, you're getting your brain food. This is brain food. So I just want to encourage each and every one of you to get with the person who invited you to look at this information and discuss the best approach that's for you. Because in the end, we need to customize, but this approach right here, these are the foundational products to health. And this is where pretty much I recommend everyone start, unless we're going to look at the fact that there's some GI challenges. And then this will also help, but obviously there are some other things that we can look at. And Nancy, I think we'll probably do a follow-up video with a little bit more information on GI health for those people out there that are looking for that.
That sounds great, Beth. Well, I want to thank everybody for their time. We do hope that you'll join us and become wellness warriors. We feel that education and knowledge is power, and we hope that we provided you with some information that will allow you to make better choices so you can be the best version of yourself. Thank you very much.